All right, we are live. Ministry Matters. And listen, this is probably the first time I have jumped on a podcast and literally felt like God was doing something like big, like something I couldn't expect, something I don't understand. On Sunday, I was like, I seen Aaron, I seen Chris Machado, and I was like, God's like, she has it. And I was like, well, what does she have? You know, like, what is it? Like, she has what needs to be on the show. And I was like, okay, God, that's your plan. And I was like, okay. So I asked you, and you're like, well, I think. And then Chris was like, yeah, we could do this, man. And I was like, all right, this is going to happen, huh? And that was the first obstacle because, you know, you have kids and sports. And I'm just like, when he started mentioning the obstacles, I was like, I don't think this is your plan, God. And then it just happened. Oh, it works out. Okay, perfect. And then yesterday I was sitting at home and I was going like, you know, God, I don't know that. Like, I don't know them that well. Like, you sure you want me to bring her on the show, interview her? Like, this could be really good or this could be really bad. And so I go through, and then I try to find you on Instagram is the funniest thing. You'll laugh at this. So I find an Aaron Machado, right?
Oh, no.
And I go, wow, she has 30,000 followers on Instagram.
Definitely not me.
And I was like, and then it's like, oh, she does makeup and hair for Hollywood celebrities. It gets better. So I'm like, okay, if this is her, she is hiding a huge secret. And so I text Ryan Stindrup and I sent him a screenshot. I go, Ryan, is this Chris's wife? I was like, kind of looks like her, but man, I don't know if she travels that much, but this person's all over the world. And he sends me LOL, big old laughing face. And I was like, okay, that's cool, God. Like, you're making me look dumb already. But then he sent me your profile and I seen it and I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, so you came to Bakersfield. Were you born in Bakersfield or did you arrive in Bakersfield?
No, I was actually born in Fresno, but I've been here since third grade. So this is my home. I've grown up here. So, yeah.
Okay. Where did you go to school and all that good stuff?
I've went to elementary school, south side of town, and junior high and south side of town, Greenfield, and then BHS. I went to BHS. This has been my home for as long as I can remember.
Okay. Did you play any sports in high school?
I did not play sports in high school. I played softball growing up, always since I was little. But I did not play sports in high school. I was kind of maybe a nerd in high school. I wanted to play sports, but I really liked, reading, and I really liked, just kind of. I was an introvert too, I would say. So, but I liked reading. I'm kind of one of those odd people. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but I begged my parents, or my mother anyway, to buy me the encyclopedia. Remember when they would knock on the doors and sell encyclopedias? Well, I convinced her one time to buy the whole set for me. So I got from A to Z. And I'm kind of one of those odd people that would just like to open up an encyclopedia and learn something. So I was kind of a nerd.
That's wild that you see the Encyclopedia Britannica is like the heaviest internet on the planet.
Right, yeah.
Because it's tons of books. My parents still have their Encyclopedia Britannica from like the 70s, the whole thing. The funniest part is like when I was in high school, I used to run and I'd pick flowers. Don't make fun of me, Wesley.
No, go ahead.
And I would
Finish
put
that
them in.
statement.
I would put them in there. Never mind. I'm not even going to talk about it.
No, come on, Adrian.
But listen, I would put them in there because I knew my mom would read them.
Aw.
And so she would open the books and she'd find the flowers in there. Okay, Wesley?
All right.
Don't make
You
fun
made
of
it
me,
up
all
at the
right?
end.
That's the
You made
sweetest story.
Yeah, you made it up for her at the end. All right.
But
I bet your mom still remembers that too.
yeah, she does. And she knows that at any day, like if she opens it up, she could find, because I put them all over there. I probably ruined many pages in that book.
That's awesome.
In the encyclopedia. So how did you end up in the place that you are now as far as your journey with God? How did that all start?
Very interesting. I grew up in a pretty dysfunctional home with my mother and my stepfather, and so wasn't a great experience in my home. But my grandparents on my father's side, they were they loved the Lord a lot. They lived just a couple hours away in a little town called a little north of us called Exeter,
Okay.
about 30 minutes shy of Fresno. And they would pick me up, and I spent a lot of time with them. And my grandfather was he wore many hats, but one of them was he was a Baptist preacher, and so I spent a lot of time in Sunday school growing up with my grandparents.
That's awesome.
And that's where I really learned about the Lord. I can't really say that I walked that life, as I was growing up. But that's where I really, was introduced to the Lord initially. And so, and then in high school, I started going to a little non-denominational church on the south side of town, and really just kind of really I was baptized, and got into the Word. That was in high school, and then I was married shortly after that.
Okay.
So
You keep saying the South Side, so if we were gang members, we would definitely say you're from the South.
Yeah,
like you're claiming your turf. For
Oh
sure.
no, we've grown so much in Bakersfield, and so I just feel like it's so big now,
Yeah,
and I just kind of primarily stay on the northwest side. So to go to the, H Street, South H Street, and I grew up near Pumpkin Center, so to me that's like very south.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
super South. You are correct.
Yeah.
That is the South Side. That's awesome.
Hey, you're about to take me there in a little bit.
Okay,
That's why I said-
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Wesley. I'm not no insults out there. Please don't send me emails. You don't have my email address anyway. But so you get through this walk. You're raised kind of with the belief, and then when do you feel like was the first time your faith was really challenged?
Well, there's been many challenges. I had kids very early. I was married in high school, and so I had my oldest, my son, at 17, and so I had to grow up. I had to grow up quick. For the most part, like I said, I was, our home was pretty dysfunctional, and so drugs and alcohol, and it was just me. I was the only one, so I learned how to, take care of myself for the most part, and so it was, that was challenging, and then having kids early, and so, but I have to say that. Like I said, when I really got to know the Lord and get into the Word in high school, right after I had my oldest, that's really where I, came to really know the Word and know the Lord. And there's been, throughout my journey to where I am now, there's been so many times that, I felt alone at some point. We all have those dark times and feel alone, but he's always been with me. He's always taken care of me. I've always had my needs met, and yeah.
That's good.
My son, has struggled with drugs, and I lost him 4.5 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And
The
so
first one?
my oldest. And so I would have to say, well, in 2019, I lost my father. He was an alcoholic, and I lost him to cirrhosis of the liver. And 7 months later, I lost my son. So 2019 and 2020 were the most difficult times of my life. And I have to say, I did get away from the Lord after I lost my son. You know, I really felt alone, and I had a lot of questions, you know, why that would happen. But today, we still don't know why, right? I never will. But I have this peace in my heart, and I know that the Lord had a plan. I know He had a plan, and I know He still does. And I'll see my son again someday. I know that.
Yeah. And I think the most like reassuring thing, if you've lost someone, and unfortunately as a pastor, have to be there for some of the hard losses, like when somebody loses their child. And yeah, you're right. You're not going to know why.
Mm-hmm.
And even if God divinely gave me an answer, I don't think it would satisfy anybody.
Right.
Yep.
So that peace that comes over in that hard time is probably the most amazing thing that could happen for you and to you. It's like, it's almost, the best way I could describe it is there's no way you could describe that peace coming to you any other way but by God, because of the way it influences the situation and where you're at. Like, it's an overwhelming peace, right?
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
truly is. You can't describe it. You really can't.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good.
So, let me ask, how many kids do you have now?
I have 3. So my oldest, my son, his name is Colin. He's with the Lord now. He would be 30 today. So he passed 2 days before his 26th birthday. He was 25 when he passed.
Like
and then
literally today?
today.
Like,
I
no.
mean just in the present
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like-
today's not his birthday.
Okay.
I'm
No.
like, whoa.
You know, wow, how
That would have
That
would-
been,
yeah.
that's wild.
no, 4.5 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
And then I have a daughter. She's 25, and I have my youngest daughter is 12. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah. The reason I ask is because, when, I have adult stepchildren, and seeing them go through their emotions, it kind of feels like now, and we also have young kids, it feels like a second act, So like hearing you is like, is this part of like your second act, like in life, or like how, you had your fallout, you had your boxing gloves with God for a little bit, and then you're back with him.
Yeah.
Right.
absolutely. And I don't even when I was introduced to him little, and when I really got into the word when I was in high school, today is much different. And I just think that we go through, just things in life, right? And they really build you, and you really, I learned, I can ask, like we talked about, why, and just feel sad. And a lot of people do sometimes, but I just have this joy, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the grace that the Lord's given me. And, I just have a spirit of peace and joy. I can't describe it.
That's how you know it's from God, because it's undescribable.
Right.
It's like today, like just getting you here today.
Absolutely.
You had a train get in the way, traffic get in the way, and I'm sure nerves got in the way. But it's like so much can get in the way, and that's kind of how you know it's like a God thing, that God wants you. Because I'm pretty sure, like, kids using drugs and stuff and taking it to a level where they hurt themselves, it's an epidemic, in our town too. It's like, it's a big thing, and lots of parents are waiting for the like, give me an answer, God, instead of going like, could you just give me peace?
Right.
Like, let me know that you've got this in your hands. At least I know it's in your hands. I may not appreciate your decisions right now, but at least I know it's in your hands, God.
Right. Right. Yeah, just surrendering to his will, I would say. Yeah, I don't, I, I, I feel like for whatever reason, I've grown up and been around so many people with addiction issues. I don't, I, although I've been around it, I've never had it and I don't understand it. I just don't. And so that's probably been challenging, but just learning to surrender to the Lord, because you can't control an addiction that somebody else has, whether it's, you know, your son, your daughter, your husband, parents. So just learning to surrender and trust in the Lord and his will. That's where it's at.
So good.
Yeah.
And that is why we had a special guest send in a text today. And you know nothing about this, but I don't know if Chris is going to want me to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway. Her blue eyes and her smile when she looks at me, her consideration of others. She makes a mean cheesecake. She is the most forgiving, loving, with the best of intentions. I fell in love with her beauty, soul, and her huge heart.
Aw,
That was Chris.
Wow.
Because I said, what's something that I can share on the air that you appreciate about her? And that's what he shared. And I know that for Chris, you know, sometimes the husband we get a lot of credit for certain things, but I know because of Jennifer, my wife, that if she was not there, I would not be here at all. So I know that for Chris to be where he's at, I'm sure that it has taken a huge effort from both of you guys. So
yeah, we've definitely, it's been a journey for the two of us, and I'm so thankful that, like I said, the Lord had a plan. We all know this, you know, Jeremiah 29:11, and I learned it when I was young, and I truly believe it. There is a plan, and with Chris, I knew there was a plan. Not initially, but there was a point that I knew that there was a plan, and I'm so thankful that the Lord, just gave us whatever it was. Call it strength, call it, stubbornness. I don't know, for us to really get through those times and be where we are now, because I'm very happy that I am, that the Lord brought us together and we're married, and yeah, he's amazing.
how long have you been married, just so the audience knows?
3 weeks. 3 weeks, yes.
Honeymoon phase, guys. Wars, all that good stuff. I think the wildest part, because Ryan Stindrup and Dr. Ari got married, and I was like, when you've been together and then you get married, it's almost like you've insulted the enemy, right? And so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you pay now."
I believe it. I feel like we are already feeling it, because in the, just to kind of throw a wrench in things, not only did we, get married 3 weeks ago, but he owns a business, and we decided, just because of just the way it happened, the person that was running his office decided she was going to go somewhere else. I've worked in insurance for 25 years, so we made the decision that I was going to leave insurance and just run his office now. Very different than what I've ever done before. So not only are we married now, but now I'm running the office, working, in his business. And so challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, challenging.
That
Wow.
is a huge challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're feeling it, and we're really setting boundaries. We just, work has to stay at work, and we can't bring it home because otherwise it would be work 24 hours a day now, right? So
Yep.
just yeah, we're
That-
feeling those challenges.
That is a huge shift.
I know.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
big one. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen some people go through something similar, and it's a when they're able to assimilate it and get into that pattern of like acceptance, like one is one and the other is the other, but it's very challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that verse from Jeremiah 29:11. I think if you do, you know it by heart.
Let's see. I should.
You got it.
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, for not for welfare or evil, but for a hope and a future.
That is good. You do have it memorized. Good job. I was like, I know part of it. I don't know the whole thing by memory. That is powerful. I would say, like, as you've gone through this journey with God, because we're kind of wrapping it up now, what do you feel would be a good word of encouragement for somebody who has taken that loss in life and they're hoping to get to where you're at, where you're married now, where you're reaching for God and the level of relationship with your God is like full of hope, full of joy? What would you say to that person today? Like,
Well, for one, I know God's not done with me yet, so there's going to be a lot more. But for I would just say trusting in the Lord and His plan, surrendering. There's so much that we can't control, although we want to, and I've spent most of my life trying to control the uncontrollable, and it's just like it's a hamster on a spinning wheel. It's not possible, and you don't. No matter what's going on around you, regardless of the chaos, you can't experience the joy of the Lord until you trust in His will and surrender.
wow. That's so
Yep.
good. I love
Yep.
it. That is the perfect statement to end the show. And I will tell you, thank you for coming on here. And even though, like, literally, I was like, I don't have a script. I don't know what we're going to talk about. God's going to guide this conversation today. And He definitely did. So thank you for being willing, Aaron, to come on
you.
here and share your life and your story and what God is doing. We will see you guys in a couple weeks. We have Sue Watson coming on next. You guys have a blessed day.
Bye.